1971 was one of the most extraordinary years in music history. A year packed with legendary albums, cultural shifts, and songs that changed the sound of radio forever. Beneath the timeless classics were dozens of hits that once ruled the airwaves, songs that topped charts, defined moments, and left a mark on millions, only to fade from the modern conversation. These are the tracks that deserve to be remembered. Today, let's revisit 10 forgotten hits from 1971 you must hear again. Songs that didn't just soundtrack a year but helped shape a decade. Number 10. Yo-Yo by the Osmonds. Before young Donnie was stealing hearts on his own, his older brothers were already shaking things up in a way that surprised just about everyone. When Yo-Yo spun its way up to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in late 1971, it showed a side of the Osmonds many didn't quite see coming. Sure, we knew them as the clean-cut family with the harmonies that lit up living rooms across America. But this was something different. Something louder, something with a little more fire. The moment that gritty guitar riff came crashing through the speakers, you knew you weren't in lightweight bubblegum pop territory anymore. The thundering drums, the distorted guitars. It had a bold, muscular sound that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the best rock coming out of Detroit or Los Angeles at the time. And yet, in the middle of all that power, you could still hear what made the Osmonds special. Those rich, effortless harmonies. The kind that reminded you this really was a family singing together. It was catchy, it was urgent. And for many fans, it was the moment the Osmonds proved they were more than just a teen idol sensation. They could rock, and rock well. Sadly, this tougher sound didn't stay at the forefront for long, as the group later leaned back into safer, more commercial territory. But for those who were there or those who grew up with this song spinning on vinyl, Yo-Yo remains a wonderful reminder of a time when the Osmonds stepped into the rock spotlight and held their own. Number 9. The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down by Joan Baez. Some songs don't just play, they linger. And in 1971, Joan Baez gave us one of those unforgettable moments when she took Robbie Robertson's Civil War tale and breathed into it a whole new life.
Till so much cavalry came and tore up the tracks again.
Her version climbed all the way to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. A remarkable achievement that reminded the world that folk music still had something important to say. Even in a decade, roaring with electric guitars and stadium-sized rock anthems, Baez didn't need the rustic Americana instrumentation that colored the original recording. Instead, she gently peeled back the layers and let the heart of the story shine through. With nothing more than acoustic guitar, bass, and the softest touch of percussion, she placed the entire emotional weight of the song on her own crystal-clear voice.
That was my wife in Tennessee, and one day she...
And what a voice it was! Joan didn't just sing the lyrics, she felt them. She made us feel them too. Suddenly, this wasn't just a song about the Civil War. It was about loss, about families divided, about the passing of eras and the very human cost of history. Her interpretation honored the original, yet stood completely on its own. Intimate, aching, timeless. For many listeners, this recording became a bridge between the folk revival of the 60s and the singer-songwriter wave of the 70s. It proved that even as pop music drifted toward glitter and escape, audiences still longed for songs that told stories. Songs that reached into the heart and stayed there. Number 8. Stick Up by Honeycomb. By 1971, the girl group sound many of us grew up with had started to change. and no one embodied that evolution better than Honeycomb. When Stick Up shot up to number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, it showed just how far the genre had come from the sugary harmonies of the 60s. This wasn't the sweet, innocent sound of yesteryear. Stick Up had swagger. It had spark. The lyrics were playful, yes, but they carried a little bite, a little attitude that matched the song's funkier, more confident groove. And then came the vocals, where Honeycomb truly set themselves apart. Instead of the lush orchestral harmonies that defined earlier girl groups, they leaned into a style that felt conversational, modern, and wonderfully real. The lead voice came through with personality and grit, while the backing vocals snapped into the rhythm rather than floating above it. It wasn't just polished, it was alive. The success of Stick Up mattered because it proved the girl group format wasn't stuck in the past. It could adapt, it could evolve, and it could carry the spirit of the 60s into a brand new musical era. By blending elements of funk, soul, and classic pop sensibility, Honeycomb created something both familiar and excitingly fresh. Their style left fingerprints on countless female groups who emerged throughout the 70s. Number 7. Mercy, Mercy Me, The Ecology by Marvin Gaye. In 1971, when most pop music was still wrapped up in love stories and radio-friendly escapism, Marvin stepped forward with something deeper. Mercy, Mercy Me wasn't just a hit, it was a quiet wake-up call. Released as part of his landmark What's Going On album, the song rose to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, carrying with it a message that felt urgent even then. From the moment that wistful saxophone floats in, you're transported into a reflective space. The arrangement, jazz-tinged harmonies, gentle percussion, soft, swirling textures, creates a dreamlike soundscape that wraps around Marvin's voice like a warm but worried embrace, and what a voice it was. Tender, aching, full of compassion. His words touched on topics few mainstream artists dared to sing about at the time. Air pollution, oil spills, radiation. But Marvin didn't approach these issues with anger or accusation. Instead, he sang with sorrow and concern, with the sense of someone watching a beloved home slowly slipping away. Its success marked a turning point in Marvin Gaye's career. He was stepping away from the purely romantic Motown formulas and embracing the role of a storyteller, an artist with something more to say. Number 6. Beginnings by Chicago. When Beginnings climbed to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100, it wasn't just another hit, it was a celebration of a band blending rock, jazz, and pop into a sound no one else could touch. From the very first notes, you can hear Chicago's confidence. The song unfolds with beautifully layered arrangements and that unmistakable horn section, bold, melodic, and technically dazzling. And with you, that's all that matters. And then there was Terry Kath. His guitar playing remains one of rock's great treasures. Fluid and melodic one moment, fierce and fiery the next. Paired with his passionate, soulful vocals, he brought a sincerity to Beginnings that still hits the heart today. The back and forth between Kath's guitar and the horn section felt like a musical conversation. Playful, expressive, and deeply alive. What made Beginnings truly special was its balance. Yes, it showcased Chicago's technical brilliance, but it never forgot the heart beating at its center. It was complex without being cold, sophisticated yet instantly inviting. Musicians admired its craft. Casual listeners simply felt its joy. And its success helped solidify Chicago as one of the defining American bands of the 70s. Number 5. Love Her Madly by The Doors.
Don't you love her madly? Wanna be her daddy?
By 1971, The Doors were entering the last stretch of their remarkable journey. Even as the shadows were beginning to gather, and Love Her Madly, which climbed to number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, stands as one of those late-period gems that reminded everyone just how much the band still had to offer.
Like she did 1,000 times before.
Unlike their darker, more brooding earlier work, Love Her Madly brought a lighter touch, almost playful at times. There was a hint of country in its rhythm, a dash of blues in its soul, and a spotlight on Robbie Krieger's guitar, which carried the song with an easy, lilting charm.
Don't you love her as she's walking out?
Jim Morrison, often known for his dramatic, almost theatrical delivery, took things down a notch here. His vocals felt warm, conversational, almost like he was singing right across the table to you. The lyrics touched on familiar Morrison themes: love, obsession, jealousy, but this time, with a softer hand, instead of vivid, provocative imagery, he leaned into suggestion, allowing listeners to fill in the emotional blanks themselves.
Gone to sing a lonely song.
And perhaps that's why the success of Love Her Madly feels bittersweet today. The Doors were facing tremendous internal pressures at the time, and Morrison himself was struggling under the weight of fame and personal turmoil. Yet they produced something undeniably beautiful, a reminder of their chemistry, their talent, and the music they still had left to give. Number 4. Signs by Five-Man Electrical Band.
And the sign said, long-haired freaky people need not apply.
In the early 1970s, when voices of protest were growing louder, and young people were searching for their place in a changing world, few songs captured that mood quite like Signs.
Sign said anybody caught trespassing would be shot on sight.
It didn't just climb to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. It became a statement, a spark, and for many listeners, a mirror of the frustrations they felt every day. Signs opened with that raw, unmistakable guitar riff. Its energy was direct, unfiltered, and refreshingly honest. So different from the more polished hits dominating the airwaves.
Put up a fence to keep me out, or to keep Mother Nature in.
Then came Les Emerson's gritty voice. It was a song about conformity, about feeling judged, about being told you don't belong. And if you were young in those days, you didn't just hear the message. You felt it in your chest.
Do this, don't do that, can't you read the sign?
Number 3. I Am Woman by Helen Reddy.
I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore.
Before it grew into a banner song for the women's liberation movement, I Am Woman was simply a powerful pop song that touched listeners from all walks of life. When Helen Reddy's recording finally reached number 1 in December 1972, it felt like a victory long in the making. Helen Reddy had spent years searching for material that reflected her own experiences as a woman. Experiences she didn't see represented in the music being written for her.
If I have to, I can do anything.
Teaming up with lyricist Ray Burton, she crafted a song that felt both intimate and universal. The lyrics spoke to a strength, resilience, and quiet determination that women had carried for generations. Musically, I Am Woman was deceptively simple yet undeniably powerful.
I am invincible, invincible. I am woman.
It started with a steady, confident beat, slowly building momentum as layers of instrumentation joined the mix. By the time it reached its triumphant finale, the song had blossomed into something grand, uplifting, and full of pride. I Am Woman was empowering without being confrontational. It invited listeners, men and women alike, to share in a perspective that was honest, overdue, and refreshing.
Way to go, until I make my brother understand.
Its success not only established Reddy as a major recording artist, but also opened the door for countless other women to explore similar themes in their own music.
I am invincible, invincible. I am woman.
Number 2, Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. Before the world was swept away by Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin had already unleashed one of their most electrifying moments. In early 1971, Immigrant Song stormed up the charts to number 16, a lean, fierce burst of energy that proved the band didn't need sprawling epics to sound absolutely monumental. At just 2.5 minutes, the song was a lightning bolt. It opened with one of the most unforgettable riffs in rock history, Jimmy Page's guitar slicing in like a battle cry, followed instantly by Robert Plant's iconic wail, a sound that still sends a shiver down the spine. Inspired by the band's trip to Iceland and their fascination with Norse mythology, the lyrics conjured vivid images of Viking ships, icy winds, and mythic conquests. The single's success helped cement Led Zeppelin, not just as album rock royalty, but as a force to be reckoned with on the American singles charts as well. Yet despite its influence, Immigrant Song often gets overshadowed in discussions of Zeppelin's greatest works. And that's a shame, because it captures the band at their most focused, their most ferocious, and their most accessible. It's proof that even in their shortest songs, Zeppelin could create entire worlds, loud, bold, and endlessly thrilling. And at number 1, For All We Know by Carpenters.
Love, look at the two of us.
Topping our list is perhaps the most overlooked number 1 hit of 1971. The Carpenters' For All We Know spent 3 weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 in the spring of that year. Yet it's rarely mentioned when people talk about the duo's greatest songs.
We've got a lifetime to share.
Originally written for the film Lovers and Other Strangers, the track explored themes of uncertain love and the fragility of relationships, and Karen Carpenter delivered one of her most tender, emotionally precise performances.
And love may grow for all we know.
Her voice carries a quiet vulnerability, soft, hopeful, and utterly sincere. Few singers could find the emotional core of a lyric the way Karen did, and this recording is one of her finest examples. The arrangement is classic Carpenters, Richard's elegant piano, and a warm production style that feels almost intimate. The balance between Karen's voice and the lush instrumentation gives the song both sophistication and approachability. The lyrics acknowledge that love can be fragile, that nothing is guaranteed, yet they emphasize the beauty of the present moment. It's a love song that's honest, mature, and deeply human, but over time, For All We Know became overshadowed by massive hits like Close to You and We've Only Just Begun. Which is why today it stands as one of the most underappreciated number 1 singles of the entire 1970s, a quiet masterpiece hiding in plain sight. And there you have it, 10 unforgettable songs from 1971 that once echoed across radios, record shops, and living rooms. If even one of these songs brought back a memory, or introduced you to something you've never heard before, then this musical time travel was worth it. Which forgotten hit from 1971 did we miss? What song deserves a second life, a fresh listen, or a place on someone's playlist today? Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep listening, keep exploring, and keep the music alive.
Love, look at the two of us.